Welcome back to SportsZone. And from one women's sports to another, we are going to be talking about the WNBA. Ian Cropper and Christian Bersuch are here to join me. And it's been an exciting offseason, but we have to start with the WNBA draft. Last night, the Dallas Wings are up at number 1. There's a lot of talk about who they're going to go with, and they end up going with AZ Fudd from UConn. I mean, what do you guys think about the pick? Was it the right decision?
I do, and honestly, this Stars team is looking pretty scary. I mean, look at your starting five. You have AZ Fudd, number 1 overall pick from this year, pairing with her college teammate, current sophomore sensation who won Rookie of the Year last year, Paige Beckers. You have Arike Mbugawale, 4-time All-Star, coming off a massive extension. Alana Smith, who is a defensive machine, and Maddie Siegrist, who just met with the Pope. Ask the Chicago Bears and Chicago White Sox. That tends to help out your fortunes.
Hopefully we can have a blessing on the Dallas Wings.
Exactly.
But I mean, Christian, what did you think about the move going AZ Fudd number 1?
I think that with all the speculation that there was never any way it wasn't going to happen, something that a lot of people that I was talking to on Twitter about were saying is that for team chemistry, there was never any chance they didn't take Fudd. You're going to make your superstar, your young player, your franchise player for the next decade unhappy in a wound that would probably never have really healed if they had not chosen Fudd. So I think, yeah, it was going to happen. The Arike contract was the only question mark before, but even then, I think that the Wings are just betting on the fact that when you have this much talent on the team, you'll make it work eventually, and I think that's the way you got to go.
That's fair, because the fit is a little bit confusing to me. Paige Beckers, AZ, and Arike, those are all guards or smaller players at least, and Maddie Siegrist isn't the biggest if you're running her out the 4. I mean, what do you guys think about this team? Are we going to be a little bit small, or do you have faith in Alana Smith to really anchor that team?
I mean, Alana Smith's really all you need. She has been a defensive machine these past few seasons, so I do think this team is going to be competitive. It's hard to say how much just because the West is really loaded, but I do think they could push some of those higher flight teams to the brink.
That's fair, Christian. I mean, it doesn't seem like you agree.
I don't want to. I'm not going to sit here and say the Wings are bad, but like Ian talked about with the West, I don't think that they can knock off the teams at the bottom of the playoff race. I think that this is a team that takes a year or two to get going. That even we talked about a questionable fit. Worst case, it's going to take them some time to learn. It's going to take some adjustments. It's going to take time for one of the players to decide that they will be the one to sacrifice. And like we've seen, like with LeBron, Wade, and Bosh, they went 9-8 in their first 17 games. Like it just takes time sometimes. And I think in the Western Conference, you don't have time to waste.
That's fair. It's a pretty stacked conference. And I mean, Alana got that $1 million contract, that max deal, and there's been a lot of max deals given out across the WNBA. I mean, how have you guys felt they've spent? Do you think they've been giving out smart contracts, or do you think they've kind of been overpaying with this huge contracts available now?
Well, I think it's mostly been worth it because if you look at the 24 players now making over $1 million a year, 18 of them have some kind of individual honor, be that an all-star, an all-WNBA, an all-defensive, or something like that over the past 4 years. To me, that just means that the new salary cap is raising the standard at which players of that caliber are paid. I think we'll see the full consequences of that going over the next few seasons, but my initial reaction is that it does make sense.
That's fair, Christian. I mean, do you agree? Do you think they've been pretty smart in the deals they've been handing out?
I do. I think especially like when you look at Toronto, like this is a team, I think looking to follow the formula that the Valkyries set for them a few years ago. They want to be competitive right away. So first $1 million backcourt, and it's by a team that hasn't even played a game yet. I mean, that's pretty crazy. But I think that it goes to show like the WNBA, these players, they weren't just spewing nonsense for the past few years whenever they've talked about how undervalued, how underpaid they are. And I think that this showed it. Like within a day of free agency opening, we have $1 million contracts that were the biggest deals in NBA history if they happen, or in WNBA history if they happened a week ago, you know? And the only thing that I kind of looked at and I was like, ooh, those are question marks, are the long deals. Like we've seen some 5-6 year deals. And I don't know, whenever like the salary adjusted, it kind of gave me like Luol Deng flashbacks. Yeah, exactly, with my Lakers. Like, are you sure you want to sign that contract? But
yeah, I agree that this does give me 2016 NBA offseason vibes. And I do think this presents both some great opportunities and great risks because on the one hand, you have teams like the Golden State Warriors who went out and got KD added to a top 5 basketball team of all time. On the other hand, you have teams paying millions of dollars to Timothy Mozgov and Nick Batum. So it'll be interesting to see which NBA teams are the Warriors and which are the Lakers and Hornets.
If I had to make my prediction right now, I think that the Atlanta Dream are the Golden State Warriors of the 2016 offseason. I think they went a little bit of a different pathway, but getting Angel Reese at first, it was like, whoa, kind of gave up a bit for Angel Reese, even though that she definitely makes the team better. But then you just see that the moves that they've made in free agency, it's like, oh, we might be looking at a super team here. Same with New York.
We have to talk about New
Oh.
York.
New
I mean,
York's-
adding Satu Sabali to a championship core. I mean,
Now
how
there's your
big-
KD.
That's your
Yeah,
KD,
that's
honestly.
the
Yeah,
Warriors,
going to a team
yeah.
that lost in a championship game and is now adding a star player. I mean, what do you think about the Satu addition, Ian?
I mean, at the very least, you have to consider them the favorites to win the East. And it's not quite as loaded as the West, but there are still some great teams there. But that roster is just insane, combining for 19 All-Stars, 17 WNBA selections, and 3 MVPs. What a lineup.
Wow.
It's stacked. I mean, yeah, but another free agency addition that I do want to talk about is that Toronto, the first ever $1 million backcourt, and they haven't played a game. Like you said, that's just crazy. What do you think about this backcourt? Do you agree with the strategy of trying to win immediately, or do you think an expansion team should take a slower approach to building?
I actually like it a lot. I think Mabry and Sykes, I mean, both of these players are they can handle the ball by themselves. Like, they can be the only player on the court and carry the offense. Both of them above average defenders too. I think if you're a new franchise like Toronto and you're looking to make a splash, I think this was the way to do it. You got a backcourt that'll set you up at least for the next 3-4 years. Both of them, they're not necessarily young players, but I wouldn't say that they're like on their way out. I think you could have a few competitive seasons as Toronto.
And I think we also have to mention in the WNBA draft, Toronto went with, in my opinion, one of the most underrated players in the draft, which is Kiki Rice. I think she creates her own shot really, really well, and I think she'll fit in with that backcourt really, really well. What did you think about Portland's offseason? Because they haven't made the big splashes that Toronto's necessarily made, but have you thought they've made some good moves this offseason?
Well, I honestly like them more than Toronto because I think Toronto is playing a kind of risky game here. Like, yeah, that $1 million backcourt is unstoppable. The problem is you only have like 2.5, 3 real players on a roster that requires 5 at least. Like, no one wants to see the WNBA version of the 2024 Phoenix Suns. I do worry that this is going to be a high-risk gamut, and given how much the Blue Jays and the Maple Leafs have been struggling, that it would be really bad for Toronto right now.
That's fair. They need good vibes in Toronto. But I want to talk a little bit more about the WNBA draft. You know, we saw AZ Fudd go 1, obviously, but there were a lot of other really, really good players picked. And I want to know, did any of those picks stand out to you guys?
I mean, you got to go. I mean, to me, it's mainly just AZ Fudd. I mean, I am a Dallasite, so I'm hyped. I'm really looking forward to seeing this team in the new year. I think they can make some noise.
That's fair. Speaking of another Texas college or player that played in college, Olivia Miles went number 2 to the Minnesota Lynx. They added a real point guard to a team that's kind of been lacking a true traditional point guard. What do you guys think about that move?
I was surprised. I was surprised to see her go before Alwa Fam. I think that's like a clear, was the second best player in the draft, and I think that's who you take, and we'll see how the future goes, how it works out, but I just don't think it was the right decision, like, at all.
I have to disagree with you. She's not the second best player in the class. She's the first best player in the class. Alwa Fam should have gone number 1, and I think I get why AZ went number 1. The team chemistry with Paige, you have to make her happy, but Alwa Fam is just a star player. The length she provides, the defense she provides, it's absurd, and I think pairing her with Dominique Malonga in Seattle, that front court
would have been.
That's scary. That's real, real scary. And I'm scared for that team. But we got to talk about the future of the WNBA now. We talked about it in the draft, but now expansion. We saw Toronto and Portland get added this offseason, and 3 more teams officially announced: Philadelphia, Cleveland, and also Detroit. I mean, do you guys agree with these cities? Do you like the ads?
I mean, yeah, I think all 3 are good cities. Philly is huge, and even though Detroit and Cleveland aren't quite on that scale, they're both proven sports cities. But I do think it's interesting how far the WNBA is already in its development. It was founded 30 years ago, and if you look at where the NBA was in 1976, 30 years after its founding, it was still struggling to stay afloat. But that was also the era when you had guys like Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain who inspired that next generation of superstars, the Jordans, the Hakeems. And I think we might already be entering that era for the WNBA. So what does the WNBA's version of the 2000s look like when you get guys like LeBron, CP3, Kevin Durant? I do think it's going to be really interesting watching the WNBA over the next decade plus, and expansion really helps with that.
Absolutely. I mean, Christian, do you agree with this expansion choice?
I do, actually. I think that going with cities that have like synergy with the NBA team is big. I think when you look at the WNBA, I mean, really, the Aces are the only one that don't have like a brother team, for lack of better words, in their city. And
Well, that's going to change soon.
that is definitely going to change soon, as we know. But I think that it's good. I think that no one, when it comes to professional athletes, no one supports the WNBA more than the NBA players themselves. Like they love each other. They go to the games. They sit courtside. They're spreading awareness. And I think that like choosing these cities, Philadelphia, Cleveland, Detroit, like all of those correlating NBA teams will be there. They'll show up. Their fans will be at the games. They'll have synergy between the two. They'll have event nights, and I think that that's the direction the WNBA needs to go in.
That's fair. The WNBA is definitely going in a super exciting direction. I mean, with the contracts, with the expansion, it's super exciting time to be a fan of the league. But sadly, that is all the time we have to talk about the WNBA. Next up, we will be talking about the Masters. So join me after this break.